Kevin thought he was imagining it at first. Little things. His idea gets presented in a meeting by someone else. His name left off the email chain. A joke about his background that lands just wrong enough to sting, but not wrong enough to report. He brushed it off, kept his head down, worked harder. Then 6 months later, he's still being passed over, still being undermined, still walking into the office every morning with his stomach already tight. And the person doing it, smiling, untouchable, protected. Here's what nobody told Kevin, and what nobody has probably told you. That coworker didn't target Kevin by accident. They ran a calculation. They studied him. They identified exactly where he was exposed, and they moved on purpose. And the terrifying part? They're still running that calculation every single day. Every interaction, every meeting, every time you walk through that door, they're watching for the moment you slip. You've been playing defense in a game you don't even know the rules to, and that ends today. Stay until the end of this video, because the final section contains the one move that flips the entire dynamic. The move that makes a toxic coworker realize they made a massive mistake targeting you. Leave early, and you'll walk back into that office tomorrow, the same way you walked in today. This is strictly educational content. Everything in this video is backed by real workplace research and organizational behavior data. Not every coworker is toxic, but every workplace has a power game running underneath it. And today, you're learning every rule. As Robert Greene once said, the best defense is to know your enemy better than they know themselves. That knowledge starts right now. Now here's something that will completely change how you see what's been happening to you. Toxic coworkers don't choose their targets randomly. They profile them. Research published in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology on workplace aggression found that individuals who engage in targeted coworker sabotage consistently select targets based on 3 specific vulnerability signals: perceived threat level, access opportunity, and defenselessness. All 3. Every time. Let that land. They chose you because you checked those boxes, not because you're weak. Because you're a threat they couldn't beat fairly, so they decided to beat you differently. Think about it. You do your work. You do it well. You don't play politics. You don't self-promote aggressively. And somehow that made you a target. Because here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. The toxic coworker sees what your manager sees. They see what your colleagues see. They see your value, and they know they can't match it. So instead of rising to your level, they invest their energy in dragging you down to theirs. That's not a random attack. That's a calculated strategy. And you cannot defend against a strategy you don't understand. This is where it gets serious. Let's break down exactly how the targeting works, because once you see it, you can never unsee it. The first signal a toxic coworker looks for is gain. Is there something to take from you? Your reputation, your visibility, your relationship with leadership, your shot at a promotion they also want. According to a 2021 study in the Journal of Organizational Behavior, coworker sabotage is most prevalent in environments where advancement opportunities are limited and recognition is competitive. Translation: wherever resources are scarce, toxic people compete dirty. The second signal is access. They need to be close enough to do damage. That's why it's almost always someone on your immediate team, someone in your meetings, someone who shares your manager. They need proximity to poison the well, and they already have it. The third signal is the most important one: defenselessness. This is the one that actually determines whether they move on you or move on. Defenselessness doesn't mean you're weak. It means you haven't built the specific structures that make targeting you a bad investment. No strong cross-functional relationships, no documented track record of your contributions, no clear understanding of how to respond to toxic behavior without accidentally making yourself look like the problem. A 2020 Harvard Business School study on workplace dynamics found that employees who maintained broad internal relationship networks across departments were significantly less likely to be targets of coworker sabotage, regardless of their seniority level. The relationships are the armor. Most people don't build them until after they've already been targeted. Here's what most people don't realize. The moment a toxic coworker opens their mouth, in a meeting, in an email, in a side comment, they are not just attacking you, they are testing you. They are watching how you respond. They are measuring your reaction speed. They are checking whether your conviction matches your competence. And here's the brutal truth that organizational psychologist research confirms. Perception in group environments is controlled by the person with the highest level of visible certainty, not the person who is right, the person who looks most certain. James, a senior organizational behavior consultant who has worked with hundreds of Fortune 500 teams, put it this way in a widely shared leadership publication: toxic coworkers win in public not because their position is stronger, but because their confidence is louder and their target's response is slower. So here's the first move in the counter playbook. Upgrade your mental model before you change a single behavior. This is the invisible shift, and it is the foundation everything else is built on. Right now, before the next meeting, before the next interaction, before the next side comment that makes your palms sweat, you need to make a decision about who you are in this situation. You are not a victim waiting for the next attack. You are not defenseless. You are not behind. You are someone who has been running without the playbook, and now you have it. Research from Stanford's psychology department on threat response found that individuals who mentally reframe threatening interpersonal situations as manageable challenges rather than uncontrollable threats show measurably lower cortisol responses and significantly more effective behavioral responses in real time. Your mindset is not soft motivation. It is a physiological performance lever. Change the model. Change the response. Change the outcome. Now here's where things shift. The mental model is the foundation, but without the second move, it collapses the moment a toxic coworker opens their mouth in a room full of people. The second move is building what researchers call a defensive relationship network, and it works exactly like structural armor. Toxic coworkers always assess the relational landscape before they escalate. Who does this person know? Who has their back? Who would believe them if they pushed back? If the answers are nobody, not many, and unclear, you become a viable long-term target. So here's what you do. Start building visible relationships with people outside your immediate team, not for political reasons, not to play games, because connected people are safer people, and the data backs this completely. According to a study from the Center for Creative Leadership, employees with strong cross-functional networks resolve workplace conflict faster, receive more peer support during difficult situations, and are more likely to be believed by leadership when they raise concerns. That last part is critical. Being believed when it matters. That is the ultimate protection against a toxic coworker's narrative. Because toxic coworkers don't just attack you directly, they manage your reputation behind closed doors. They plant seeds of doubt with people who haven't formed a strong opinion of you yet. They work the room before you even arrive. Your network is what pre-answers those planted doubts before they take root. And you build it the same way every strong professional relationship gets built. Show genuine interest in what other people are working on. Offer help without expecting anything immediately. Be the person who makes introductions, shares credit, and follows through. Not as a tactic, as a standard. Because here's what nobody tells you. A toxic coworker's greatest vulnerability is that they've never genuinely invested in relationships. Their alliances are transactional and fragile. Yours can be real, and real always wins in the long run. Now, let's talk about the move that actually makes a toxic coworker stop. Not slow down. Stop. This is where most people get it completely wrong. They go aggressive. They clap back in meetings. They escalate to HR prematurely. They match the toxic energy directly. And suddenly they're the one who looks unhinged. Research on workplace conflict escalation from the Society for Human Resource Management confirms that direct aggressive counter-responses to toxic coworker behavior most commonly result in the original target being perceived negatively, regardless of who started the conflict. The toxic coworker knows this. They have built defenses specifically designed to make your reaction the problem. So you don't give them a reaction. You give them something far more unsettling. You play dumb, strategically. When they make the passive-aggressive comment, you don't flinch. You ask them to clarify. "I'm sorry. I'm not sure I followed that. What did you mean?" Said calmly. said with a slight smile, said with complete composure. They now have two options: double down and expose themselves completely to everyone watching, or backtrack and lose the social ground they were trying to take. Both outcomes are wins for you. According to negotiation research from the program on negotiation at Harvard Law School, publicly asking someone to explain or clarify an aggressive or ambiguous statement is one of the most effective de-escalation techniques available, because it forces the aggressor to either own their aggression explicitly or abandon it entirely. The room sees everything. You don't need to say another word. And every time you do this, calmly, confidently, without hostility, you are sending a signal to every person watching. This person cannot be rattled, and that signal compounds. It gets remembered. It gets shared. Here's the part I told you to wait for. The real secret. Everything we've covered, the 3 vulnerability signals, the mental model upgrade, the defensive network, the strategic composure, all of it works. And all of it is available to you starting today. But none of it is the most important piece. The most important piece is this. The shift from target to untouchable is not a tactic. It is a decision. And it is a decision that most people delay indefinitely. Not because the information isn't there, not because the strategy doesn't make sense, but because somewhere underneath all of it, they have quietly accepted that this situation is permanent, that the toxic coworker is too established, too protected, too embedded in the culture. That belief is the only thing keeping the target on your back. Research on learned helplessness from the American Psychological Association shows that individuals who experience repeated negative outcomes in environments they feel they cannot influence begin to stop attempting to change those outcomes, even when the circumstances have changed and change is genuinely possible. You may have been in that pattern without knowing it. The coworker didn't beat you, the pattern did. And patterns can be broken the moment you decide to break them. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You cannot control whether a toxic coworker targets you. You can control how unpleasant that decision becomes for them. Make it unpleasant, every single time. Walk back into that office tomorrow with a different internal reality. Not louder, not angrier, just decided, unmoved, untouchable. They will feel it before you say a single word. And by the time they figure out what changed, it's already too late for them to do anything about it. If this video changed how you're going to walk into that office tomorrow, hit like right now. It costs you nothing, and it reaches someone who needs it today. Subscribe if you want more real, research-backed strategies for navigating the workplace nobody prepared you for. Drop your situation in the comments. What is your toxic coworker doing, and how long has it been going on? I read every single one, and your story might become the next video. You came here because someone at work has been making your life harder than it needs to be. Now you know exactly what they've been doing, and exactly how to make them regret it. Go be untouchable.